This is the Don't Hide the Scars podcast, presented by Pain, Parents and Addicts in Need.
Joey Guerriero, thank you for coming back and joining the founder of Pain, Flindt, Andersen, and myself. That's a lot right there. Founder of Pain, Flindt, Andersen, and myself.
That's a lot to say, especially this time of the day.
Jason LaChance on Don't Hide the Scars. Boy, where did we dig in with this stuff? Yesterday, Joey, you and I, we'll chat, send each other encouragement as we're in recovery, but you sent me this stuff on Suboxone and the movement now towards it being a part of telehealth. Mm-hmm. And so for us three guys, that sends up a lot of concern.
Yes.
Really fast.
A lot of concern, a lot of red flags,
yeah.
a lot of everything.
Yeah, it brings back a lot of memories.
Doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does.
Because I don't think we had talked about it. You did have I don't want to say a run, but did utilize Suboxone at one point.
Yeah, I had a pretty long experience. I was on and off it for like the last 6 years of my using pills and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, when that popped up yesterday, the first thing I thought of was, holy, you know what? And then I you two guys, I'm like, I need to get a hold of them because it's just, like I was saying before we started, I just don't want anybody to go through the things that I put myself through.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's just kind of concerning because...
Yeah, not only concerned, but again, I'd like you to explain, so it's coming from somebody else, the withdrawal symptoms of Suboxone. Everybody thinks this is kind of the miracle drug. Mm-hmm. Nobody talks about when you want to come down to the end of it and when you want to get off of it. Mm-hmm. Nobody talks about that. I don't even think clients are told that when they go in to get it from their doctor or a clinic or somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So let everybody know what that's like.
Yeah, so I found out about it from another addict who was a really good friend of mine. He told me about it. This is back in 2013. So I'm like, wow, that sounds amazing. You're telling me that I can take something that eliminates withdrawals and it doesn't get me high, so I'm not like feeling all loopy. I just feel like normal, which I haven't felt in years. Like, it sounds like the miracle drug, the Holy Grail. So I went to that same doctor, and no, he didn't explain anything like you just said. He just asked me to give him a little details about my usage of opiates, and I told him, yeah, I take like 20 pills a day, whatever. And from what I can recall, the conversation went real quick into like 5 questions, asking me about my withdrawal symptoms and other things last time I used. And based on the amount of pills I was taking, he gave me a prescription. He says, come back in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And every 2 weeks, I'd go back and just have a shorter conversation, would just be those 5 questions. And as I mentioned to you before, eventually he started asking if I felt that we should lower the dosage. And my response was always the same. No, I think we're good.
Right.
And why was that my answer? Because I'm an addict.
Right.
I don't understand the drug. All I know is that I feel better than I've felt in years.
Right.
Take away all the worry of trying to find pills and all that stuff so I can actually focus on work a little bit instead of that other job. And then I like ran out or couldn't get back into him or something, and then I experienced those withdrawals, and they were just as bad, if not worse, than the pills. So, of course, went and got some pills because those were easy to get.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was like a lot of other drugs. It wasn't explained. I didn't even think it was a drug at first, if that's what you want. I mean, that's what it's called, but I didn't consider it a drug.
Right.
So I had a rough experience with it, thinking I'm good to go. Mm-hmm. I mean, I really thought at first, my initial reaction was, I don't care if I have to take this every day for the rest of my life because that'll be much better than what I'm doing now.
Right.
And then it just kept spiraling back and forth. And as I mentioned to you earlier, they say, don't take opiates, you'll get sick. Well, I'm a drug addict. I'm not going to listen to them. And I feel like, okay, I kind of got this under control so I can dabble with some pills here and there. And I went and got a bunch of Norcos and slammed 3 like I always would just to get going, and felt great.
Absolutely.
Didn't have the interaction they were talking about, and I continued to do that. So
right.
But yeah, it's just one of those things about just people just need to be informed.
Yeah.
Right. And that's our big thing here.
Exactly.
It's just look, there I know there's going to be some people out there that are never going to be able to get clean. That's just a fact. Mm-hmm. And if Suboxone is going to help those people, look, again, it's not my first choice, but I'd rather have them on that
Right.
and living some sort of a decent life than the alternative. But once again, we're not talking about proper treatment. We're not talking about telling people that there is a way out, that abstinence is an option here. You can do it. I think a lot of times we're almost insinuating that you can't do it.
Well, I think this has become like you're doing it.
Oh.
I think it's really spun as the way to go, you're doing it. And I'm not knocking anyone that does, go that path, but hey, I would rather instead of you're shooting up heroin with the same dirty needle as someone else, whatever. Okay, look, hey, I don't want you to die either, but I think it's really being presented as you're doing it. When that option isn't ever given. Like, well, have you tried going completely clean? Or, hey, thank you for coming in. Thank you for being so transparent. Doctor-patient relationship. This is your plan. This is how we're going to taper you.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like for you, it was as simple as just going to the doctor. There wasn't any other continuum of care.
No, of course not. It was just, I think they drug tested me like that first appointment, and maybe here and there, like I don't even recall maybe getting tested again. But yeah, no, there was no plan of treatment. And in that advertisement that we saw yesterday, they were calling it while you're in treatment, while you're in treatment, while you're in treatment. I watched like a video and I'm like, so treatment is doing a telehealth appointment, getting the Suboxone, and just doing that all over again? I mean, like,
it doesn't seem that it's
confusing to me.
It doesn't sound too far from the methadone clinic experience.
Look, it's just another way for people to make money.
Yep.
I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
It's easy. Suboxone does not have that stigma that regular opioids have. So people aren't going to bitch too much about that. But again, the reality is, try stopping it.
Yeah.
When you're at 12 milligrams or 16 milligrams, most doctors aren't going to go over 16 milligrams to start you with. It's 16 and down from there. But you and I were talking again prior to this thing, and I was telling him that it comes in the strips come in different milligrams, right? Well, it stops at 2 milligrams. So if somebody wants to taper down, why don't they have a 1 milligram strip? Why don't they have a half a milligram strip? They could actually, if you're talking about just from a money standpoint, they probably make more money off of it that way. But so when the addict gets down to that 2 milligrams, and everybody thinks, 2 milligrams, that's nothing. That's everything when you have to stop at that 2 milligrams.
Oh, yeah. I can tell you about that.
Right? Not only the physical part of it, but the psychological piece to it. So now the addict has to cut it in half, cut it in a third, whatever it is, to get that down. And after a while, the ass going to go, fuck this. Okay, I'm not going to spend my time cutting it, or I dropped a piece somewhere, or because it's sublingual. Yeah. It's not like it's a pill. And they do have pills too, though, by the way. But the sublingual just hits you faster. So anyway, it's just nobody's being told the real story about all this stuff. And then, of course, you have the advocates out there. They're going, yes, this is wonderful. It's going to keep you alive, blah, blah, blah. It still keeps you trapped. No matter how you slice it, no matter how you talk about it, it's going to still keep you trapped. End of story.
Yeah, I had one of my brothers, old friend of my brother's back from high school. I ran into him at morning maintenance meeting like a couple months after I got home from treatment. And I hadn't seen the guy in years. I knew he had been in prison for whatever. And, I'm like, you in here, like, drinking too much, whatever, drugs. Like, I was telling about myself and just asking him. And he's like, oh, yeah, heroin, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, but I've been on Suboxone for a while now, so now I'm doing good. And I'm like, cool. I'm like, and what's your plan to get off of it? And he's like, oh, I don't really have one. I said, well, I'm not going to tell you what to do. And I said, and I've only been sober for a couple months, but I said, having those handcuffs removed, and I said, that's a bad analogy to a guy that just got out of prison. But I said, literally, that's how I felt every day, like I was handcuffed, that I could not get out of bed without either taking my pills or putting Suboxone in my mouth and leaving the house without one of those things in my back left pocket. Like, I had to have it. As long as I had it with me, I was good.
Exactly.
And I said, so to wake up and not have to do that, I said, it's got to be a better feeling than getting out of prison.
It's a huge relief.
Yeah.
New Perceptions North, the premier drug and alcohol treatment and recovery center in Central California. A full continuum of medically supervised top quality care with programs for detox and patient residential treatment with dual diagnosis, intensive outpatient treatment, sober living support groups, and more. New Perceptions North provides adult men and women with the highest caliber of professional health care, treating each client with compassion and respect in a safe, comfortable environment to begin the process of recovery to proudly create and sustain a life without addiction. Call 559-978-1507 or visit newperceptionsnorth.com.
Yeah, because no matter what, we're all under the influence of something in life. It was a switch to fitness. Flindt, you with all the work you've done here with pain, me coming on board with the, finding a way for people to share their stories. We're all going to be under the influence of something. And like you said, that was your first influence of the day. For me, it's prayer, meditation, breath work. For you, it's hitting the gym, eating right, Flindt, all that you do. So
Coffee,
you're going to be
cigarette. Yeah, okay.
You're gonna be under the influence of something.
Yeah.
And this is what you're deciding when we talk about the trap, that this is what you're going to be influenced. The rest of your life, it's not going to change.
Yeah.
It's not going to change if you decide that this is the path that you will go. And it's not a benign choice. I think that's the other frustrating thing, that it's like you said, the magic drug.
Yeah.
It comes with consequences, just like anything else.
They all do.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, you get that person that really wants it, wants to be off their drug of choice that's an opiate, and you introduce them to Suboxone without that plan. They're going to find out real quick that one time they can't get their refill, or they left it at home and they can't find it. They're going to find out real quick what they're dealing with. And again, my experience is only with one local doctor who seemed to be just giving it to whoever wanted it. So I don't know what other doctors are saying. But when you read about it online, you don't really read too much about, you might read that, it is also an opiate, but it doesn't say that it's going to affect you with withdrawals just as bad, if not worse, than whatever your other drugs are.
Yeah.
So when that happens to people, it's not a very good feeling.
No, it's not. But again, there are families out there that may have lost a child to this, and of course, a lot of their thinking now is, "Wow, I wish my son or daughter would have gone down that road." So there's a part of me that says, "Well, how do you argue with that?"
Yeah.
There's always that human side to me, right?
Of course.
That says, "Yeah, I understand that." And so I'm not going to really argue with a family that has lost a child over this. When I'm talking, this is for the people that are still upright and still vertical and still breathing. That there is a better option here. But when the society today, when you keep getting hounded daily, social media, whatever it is, okay, that hey, this is going to help you. Even if you're told the truth, I would imagine most of that goes right out the window, right? Because like you said, with us opiate addicts, so much of this is psychological as well, and that just goes to what you said about that one in your back pocket. If you got that one in your back pocket, you're good.
Yeah,
you can go back.
Crazy.
You can go back.
It's your Swiss Army knife, man.
That's it, or you're 45. Either one. But yeah. So all of a sudden now you take that away from us. Holy. Okay, you think you're going to get a fight? Of course you are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I think I've mentioned it, or we talked about it before, to touch on the psychological part. I mean, that's the craziest part about being an opiate addict for me was that. I can tell you countless times where I was just dope sick as you could be, wanting to die, texting every person that I knew that I could always get pills from. And as soon as somebody texts me back that, I can meet you in whatever amount of time, wherever, I would start feeling a little bit better. And then I would meet this person and just get them into my possession without putting them in my mouth, or just getting it in my hands. Like immediately start feeling better.
Absolutely.
And so that psychological part of it, I don't know. I have no clue how it works.
I don't either.
I'm not the only one, apparently, because other addicts have talked about it. So it's like, it's real.
It's real.
Oh, yeah. It'd be that with booze if I had the DTs or something, handshaking, and people can't see, but it got my left hand shaking, and if this coffee was the bottle or whatever.
Stop shaking.
Smooth.
Right.
Once I touch it, I haven't taken a drink yet. It just,
Right.
I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
I hated that psychological piece to it.
I do too.
That was the worst part.
It's the worst part of all, because sort of along your lines, I was out at Bullard High School coaching, and I was out, and this is February, and it was cold outside, and I got a bunch of 13-year-olds running around, right, and I'm jonesing out there, and I'm sitting in the wet grass. Okay, it was a Saturday, and again, this is a long time ago, so things were different. And I called about 3 different doctors, right, just to lie, just to get a script called into Walgreens. And sure, one doctor calls back, and he calls it in, right? All of a sudden, I just went from shaking to calm.
Best practice ever after that, probably, right?
Best practice ever. Because my thinking was, because Walgreens was right around the corner, right? 15 minutes, I'm going to be fine. I mean, try explaining that to somebody.
You can't.
You can't. And that brings up the piece of no matter if you're talking to a parent, or you're talking to Sacramento, or you're talking to even doctors, they don't understand. I know I keep beating this dead horse, but they don't understand.
That horse is galloping, my friend, because it's like, hey, pay attention here.
Pay attention, because they don't understand addiction or the addict. They don't understand it. And until these people start to understand how this stuff makes us think, how it makes us function, how it makes us do all of the things we need to do, nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to change.
I know. It's simple. Like with a drug like Suboxone, I think it is a fantastic tool, because like I told you.
It is.
Yeah, I was like doing it on my own. And then when I finally decided to ask for help and I went to treatment, the day that I got there, they took us to the doctor, told them everything I've been doing, taking, they test you and whatever. And he put me on Suboxone, put me on some other medication for alcohol withdrawals. Sent it back. They gave me that while I was at his office, and then they sent the rest of it back with the facility, and they administered it for, I think it was 3 or 4 days, but they tapered it down.
Right.
Yeah.
And after those 3 or 4 days were up, my body was just in shock from going 3 or 4 days without any alcohol or any opiates. But like, I didn't feel like
Right.
Yeah.
I felt okay for a couple days. I was kind of tired, but like nothing like it was before whenever I had withdrawals. So I'm like, wow, for me, here's a perfect example of how this should be used.
Right.
I don't know the solution how to do that like at home or outpatient or whatever, because it didn't work for me.
Right.
But
Hardly ever does.
right.
Hardly
But
ever
it's
does
like,
when you're doing it
if there
on
is
your
a
own.
way to put a plan in place and actually execute it, that drug could be like one of the greatest tools out there.
Well, let me just explain this to you guys, because I was just talking to my partner about a couple of things. And, treatment has changed drastically from the mid-2000s to today. And one of the things we did when the treatment center was down in Los Angeles is that when we brought somebody in, and I'm speaking specifically of opioid addicts and alcoholics at this point, because you have to be able to work with your physician on this, and the physician has to know addiction, because most physicians are just going to write the script. And again, today most treatment facilities, their doctors are addiction specialists. We used to make sure that client, when we took them down to our place in LA, that they were on detox drugs for over 2 weeks. And let me tell you something. the number one reason why people leave treatment is because they feel like That's the number one reason why kids will call their parents and say, hey, it's time for me to go. I got to get out of here. All right, because they feel lousy. They're not being, excuse me, but not being medicated enough in order for them to get through this properly. Again, we're not over-medicating. We're just medicating to the point where you're not dope sick.
Right.
Now they have a chance at to start to learn what we're teaching down there as well. As opposed to today, where because of insurance companies, if that insurance company thinks that client is doing well enough in the first 3 to 4 days, they're going to stop that at 3 or 4 days, the detox. And
That's crazy.
Right now you're putting somebody, or hopefully they're going to stay into residential. But now the next 2 weeks is hell because they haven't been detoxed properly, and there's not a damn thing we can do about it except write back to the insurance company and say, hey, this is what this person is going through. So there is, and we don't believe at our facility that when you have somebody on a detox med for 2 weeks, that is not going to turn them into, quote, a Suboxone addict or any other type, because they're in a place where they're safe, they're being monitored, right? There's a doctor right there, the whole 9 yards. Again, it goes back to, and I'm going to keep repeating this till the day I die, the insurance companies, the physicians, they don't understand the addict. They don't understand the fear that we go through. Okay, if we're cut off too soon, we're going to tell everybody to go to hell, and we're going to get out of there.
Yeah.
I wanted to start this program because many months ago I was dealing with some veterans. I just didn't like the way they were being treated. I didn't like the services that were being provided, for the lack of a better term. I think we need to do a better job with our veterans, and in essence, that's why I decided to start this. If you want to get involved with this program, there are several ways. One is you can go to our GoFundMe page and donate directly there. You can contact the paying office at 559-579-1551 or me directly at 559-978-9239 and make a donation there. Or you can always go to our website, paynonprofit.org, and of course donate right there on our website. I want to thank you for getting involved in this program. Every penny that you donate to this cause is going to help a veteran in need. So let's all band together and give these veterans the services that they so well deserve. I mean, we haven't even talked about the potential health risks of being on long-term. Sleep disorder, bowel dysfunction. By the way, I mean, I know this is not a very pleasant topic, but how constipated were you during your...
First few years, it was pretty rough. And then, I don't know, my body adapted or something.
Okay, right.
Back to normal now, though. For 4.5 years.
Yeah, exactly. Right, but it got so bad that I tore everything inside.
Wow.
Right. So bowel obstructions, heart issues. Like I said, sleep disorders. What else was on that list? There's numerous health risks that may not appear immediately. But what happens when you're 60 and you've been clean for 20 years, let's say, a lot of this comes back to bite you in the butt. So again, inform.
And I think, I probably said this earlier, but I do think that any addict that's looking to try Suboxone or whatever, I don't think they're as closed-minded as, like, someone in their active addiction where you just tell them, like, here, you want to try this to get rid of that? Or, no, I'm good with what I'm doing. With someone they might be a lot more receptive to, this is actually how it works. This is like goes back to having a plan. Like, we'll put together something to get you off. I don't know how well that conversation will work, but like I said, I feel from my own experience, when you're in your active addiction and looking at that alternative, you are probably, or more than likely, open to at least having a conversation.
I think we're open to the conversation, but I'm going to go back to, and I am a firm believer that, not saying that not everybody this is going to happen to, but most people, like you say, if it's left on to our own device, we're going to probably take the road less traveled. Instead, well, is that right?
This one would be the most traveled.
Most traveled, right? That's why I love people being able to stay in treatment for just a little bit longer, because, like we said in the beginning, they're safe, they're taken care of. They know that nothing is going to happen to them in there. And I'm not going to lie to anybody. When you get down to that last little bit and now you're off, you're going to go through some flu-like symptoms. You are. It's just a fact. When you put poison in your body, it has to come out somehow, and it's not going to come out by rainbows coming out of your mouth. All right? You're going to feel a little uncomfortable for about 2 to 3 days. That's it. And it's not even anything to write home about. It's more psychological than anything. You know, so that's why I like the treatment option. But again, we're not giving people the treatment options either, because hell, nobody can afford it. Nobody's got the right insurance, and Medi-Cal treatment centers don't do that.
The Medi-Cal treatment centers don't offer,
for the most part.
Wow.
They will offer Suboxone, but they're not going to be able to keep them very long. Every insurance company, no matter what it is, wants to get them out of detox and residential and into outpatient as quickly as possible.
Well, again, what's the driving factor behind it all? It's just money.
Money. So
sure.
It always is.
You know, if you want to talk like back to like kind of politics, but like the Obamacare thing, like I just remember hearing the right side saying how stupid it was. And as far as how it applies to like addiction and treatments, I don't know, but I'm a little familiar with that.
Sucks.
But it's a health insurance option for people that can't get it anywhere else.
Of course.
And it's great. The government pays for all of it or some of it. That's fine. But why can't we take all those resources and just create some kind of change to the system? Because, health insurance, we all have to have it. It's really expensive. You know, after a certain age, I mean, forget about it. $600 a month for a woman, $500 a month for a man, or whatever the hell it is at the age of 45. But things like that. Okay, I pay all this premium. I don't ever get sick. I don't go to the doctor, but I'm a drug addict and I need to go to, or an alcoholic and I need to go to treatment. And like you can go for X amount of days and you're out. Like,
yeah.
Well, on my plan, because I do have the covered California, if I went, hey, Flindt, man, I really relapsed, I need to come down there, Flint's going to have to gift me. It won't cover it.
That's
even as a subsidized.
Yeah, it won't cover it.
That's wild.
It's absolutely nuts. But I also think that along with that, counties have to have enough facilities to take care of everybody. No county has the number of facilities to take care of everybody. City of San Francisco, $569 million budget for substance use disorder and mental health, 57 beds to service 25,000 practicing addicts in the city of San Francisco.
57 beds, huh?
57 beds. So where? By the way, that's supposed to cover substance use disorder and mental health. So where's all the money going?
Yeah, it's $100 million a person or bed, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay, it's ridiculous. Those are the things that most people don't understand. They've never heard that before. You know, nobody pays too much attention to that stuff. Well, we're bringing it to the forefront.
Yeah, and everybody needs to as well, because like, okay, the federal government has a $33 trillion deficit. So obviously this country's been in the business of just printing money for a really long time. And we need to have, a strong defense and all that stuff. But I mean, come on. Like, this has been a pandemic, epidemic, whatever the hell demic it's supposed to be called, like, for a really long time, and nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't seem like it's going to.
Well, again, history repeats itself. Mm-hmm. And when you start looking at the drug issue as a whole, it really has just continued to develop since the 1800s. You know, since China and Britain got into the whole heroin thing, we allowed cocaine and heroin to be sold in pharmacies, in the early 1900s. And then we put restrictions on it. Now it's illegal, and then something else comes back to where it's legal, and then we make it illegal, and it goes back and forth and back and forth. And then you look at, like in the 70s, I remember you couldn't get a prescription for opiates. I mean, you could, but they were really hard to get. You had to have your leg snapped in half. Well, then here comes Purdue in the 80s and 90s, right? And now they just explode the whole thing. Where did the government think that was going to lead? I mean, my God.
Good question.
Because then we came in and we shut Purdue down. Then the opioid epidemic hit, right? And as much as we shut down some of those things, and pharmacies now don't, you can hardly even take a prescription in anymore. It has to be called in. So we've tried to put the brakes on that, but then here comes fentanyl, because the drug dealer is always going to find a way to get drugs to the United States of America, because we're their biggest target.
Yep.
We're their biggest user. We use 99% of the world's hydrocodone supply. 99%, that's a fact.
Oh, I know.
99%. Jesus. If I'm a drug dealer, you don't think I'd target the United States?
Absolutely.
Of course I would. And how does people not see that coming? It just makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, and it makes me wonder with this kind of movement with Suboxone, and if you think about with Purdue and the Sacklers, and we watched the documentaries where the guy that worked for the FDA that did the final approval, then ended up going and working for Purdue for 2, 3, 4 years, who had a huge salary. And that guy never faced any huge liability either. Like,
Right.
What is the thing? What is it where there's who is it in the government that just goes, cool, perfect plan, stamped, send it on its way, and never goes, so it's still an opioid, right? Yeah. And we're going to get people off. No. If they want to just stay on it, like, won't that potentially kill them or cause issues? Yeah. Oh. Yeah, okay, approved. It's like, where is the full knowledge of this thing? Or is it just the machine feeding the money machine?
It's what really about it has to be. Because, unless it happens where, like, a sitting president or a high-ranking senator or congressperson has a kid or grandkid that literally, just ODs on fentanyl or whatever, nothing is clearly going to change.
Well, let's talk
and even if that happens, who the hell knows?
Well, our president has a son that's an
active recovery.
There was either senator or congressman, I want to say, from Kentucky, one of those places, and actually, gosh, I wish I could remember his name. He actually had, it was either a child or a grandchild that died of an overdose, and when I went to the National Drug Conference back in 2018, he was presenting, and he made this huge speech about how he was going to get involved, and he hasn't done shit. So you got to ask yourself why.
Yeah.
Why? So and we all say that it's going to take a senator, a congressman, a president, somebody, all right, whose child or grandchild died of an overdose. Where's Robert De Niro? As much as I used to love him, but don't anymore. Okay, and his political views.
Yeah, his grandson, right?
But his grandson died.
Mm-hmm. They caught the dealer in New York, and they put him in jail. They did.
Isn't it amazing how quick they caught him?
Yeah.
But where's the outrage from somebody that could immediately have a platform on this? Immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, and it goes back to what you were like mentioning the stigma earlier, and it's just like, I don't know, because thank God it hasn't happened to anybody in my family yet, like actual death.
Right.
But I would think that that's probably a really painful thing to go through, and like, why would you not want to stand up from the top of the mountains and like not have somebody else go through what you're currently going through?
Correct. I don't get it.
I don't either, because when you hear about these high school kids, and I said it the first time I talked with you guys, the buying the Xanax and then they drop dead because it was laced with fentanyl. Like, what's it gonna take? Why are schools still not wanting to put Narcan in their schools? That's a freaking great question.
Now
what's the hell is the answer when they say no? Is it a liability of some type?
They think it's a liability. They're always afraid of a lawsuit. Teachers in particular. They don't. They're afraid of just that. You know, if they give Narcan to somebody. So we explain to them that it doesn't have any other properties. We explain to them that you can shove 8 bottles up your nose yourself and you're going to get a runny nose. That's it. So there have been Clovis Unify. We got it Clovis Unify in every classroom, right? So I mean, they're doing a great job. Fresno Unify came in and just took some, but not everybody is going to put it in each classroom like we need to. And I'm still trying to figure out the answer to your question, because we explain to them that it will not harm anybody. Little kids, there have been numerous deaths of little kids in the state of California that have touched it at home and came to school and died. You have delivery people that come on campus. You've got police. You got everybody, and nobody's exempt from becoming a substance, maybe not an addict, but a substance abuser, right? So you've got all these different people that are on your campus. Why wouldn't you have it in every damn classroom?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, you know, instead of putting it in strategic locations where the nurse has to go get it and run it out, and by that time the person's dead.
Yeah.
You know. So again, this is whenever you're talking about drugs of any kind, you're always going to get both loud resistance, and you're going to get the quiet resistance as well. They're not even going to answer. They're not even going to respond. You know, and it's like, Jesus, I just don't get it.
And it's just really simple. It's just like, at least try to change it up, because
this ain't working.
It's decades it's not working. And no, we're not gonna save every addict out there. You're not gonna get every addict to get sober and stay sober forever. But every person's worth trying.
Everyone.
So I mean,
everyone.
It's the exact reflection of addiction, which is the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again and think you're gonna get a different result.
Same thing here.
Well, this is insane bull. I'll say it till the day. I don't know how to fix it. I don't have the solutions. All I know is what I went through and what I've seen and heard other people go through. And yeah, for about 10 years, I did not feel like I was worth it, worth saving and living. And I almost took my own life. And I'm damn glad that I didn't.
Right. Well, and again, I think we leave it with this. Until people want to really know about addiction, want to understand it, want to understand the addict, and until our government officials want to understand the whole process, and until they start getting some people in there that know what they're doing, such as people like ourselves that want to help, we're going to keep along the same path. And that's to me, that's criminal.
Yeah, it's a sad reality.
To me, that's criminal. Yeah.
And hopefully a individual and family members will understand, and you guys can relate to this. I have yet to meet someone in recovery that says it's the worst decision they ever made, and I'd really love to be back and be able to. No,
I know.
Never will.
Right.
Yeah, I saw a meme the other day because I follow a lot of sobriety accounts on social media, and I think it's probably a common saying in 12 steps, and I don't even remember it, but it was something along the lines of like, once you try recovery or whatever, if you don't like it, your addiction will give you a full refund or something like that.
We will refund your misery.
Yeah, that's what it is. Refund your misery. Yep. I'm like, absolutely. And like you said, there's nobody that has any kind of long-term sobriety that says, man, this sucks.
Joey, thanks for coming in.
Yeah,
appreciate
you,
you, man. We really do. We really do. Proud of you too, by the way.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your marriage. I think that's wonderful.
God, how'd you luck your way into that one, huh?
Man, I don't know. I ask myself that every day. I'll tell you guys what, and I know when the doors opened with her dad to walk in, man, it was like, I almost started crying right there because it was just like, it was like an angel.
Yeah.
I'm sure every man, that's what they think when they see their wife, but it was like the light was coming from outside and she had this huge smile. And
that's beautiful.
Yeah, it was a great day, and it's we're
don't screw
happy.
This up.
I'm gonna do everything I can to not screw it up.
Just do the work. That's all it is.
All,
hey, you've done the work in so many other aspects of your life that this is just another good area.
And we do that often. We do a lot of talking when we have little disagreements. And
good.
Oh, that's
she's in recovery as well, and it's.
Nice.
So we know how to communicate. Well, she knows how to communicate. She's teaching me how to communicate better.
Yeah, they know how to do that pretty well, too.
Well, we thank you for listening on either Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts. Hit that subscribe button, leave a rating and a review, and, of course, if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Did you notice now, every time you say subscribe, the little subscribe button lights up?
Oh.
Subscribe. And make sure you have the bell on for all alerts. So every time we release content here on Parents and Addicts in Needs channel, you get notifications. If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, please call PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need, at 559-579-1551. Or visit us online at painnonprofit.org. Follow us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Pain Nonprofit. And please subscribe to the Don't Hide the Scars podcast and share with others wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. And if you would like to donate to PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need, please click the link in the description to make your tax-deductible donation today and help us save more lives gripped by addiction.